Episode number 51, where we consistently talk about transmutation. What is transmutation, Bersabeh?
It's to take something and turn it into something else.
Take something of low value. And turn it into
something of higher value.
That's right. It's like taking apparent trash and turning it into treasure. Taking what appears to be a grave and turning it into a garden.
Oh my God.
That's a new one.
I don't know.
I just came up with that one, so you don't know that one yet, but you do now. And we've been talking over the last several episodes about your environments, the 7 environments that probably need some transmutation. And they impact your psychology, your biology, your relationships, your life, your business, every single area. And so this episode, we want to talk about your psychological environment. And modern physics tells us that everything is what?
Comprised of energy.
It's all energy. Your psychology literally, according to research, and I'll tell you from whom in just a moment, creates an energy field. Really, your entire psychology, both conscious and unconscious, creates an energy field.
Yes, it does.
And this is an environment that you are consistently surrounded in. Does that make sense to you? Mm-hmm. And so when the ancient traditions tell you that you have multiple bodies, what they're really talking about are these multiple energy fields. Now, let's go to really cutting edge research and science by Harold Saxon Burr from Yale University. And his exhaustive research proved that on this very topic, this energy field topic, that first of all, his expertise is in bioelectrics. And he proved that your psychology, now we're talking about not just your thoughts, but also your feelings and your emotions.
Okay.
And the actions you take. Yeah. Create a field around you. And he called that an L field, which stands for life field.
Interesting.
And his research proves that unless, and this is where it's really powerful, unless and until you change the field, you never change your life.
Oh, that's so true. That makes a lot of sense.
It makes total sense. And that's probably one of the most powerful environments, and all of them are important, and we've talked about several. You can go back and catch up if you haven't been staying up with us, but you are surrounded and immersed in this L field, according to Harold Saxon Burr, 24/7.
Yeah.
24/7. And it has a frequency. We could call that a vibration. And unless and until you change that field, you will never change your life. Now, science tells you also that you are an electromagnetic being. What does that mean, Bersabeh?
Electromagnetic being. It means that you attract things to yourself.
That would be the magnetic.
The electric is the active part of your deeds, your doings, your actions.
That's right. The electric is the active. The magnetic
is the receptive.
Is the receptive or attractive. So the electric in the ancient traditions is the active, and the magnetic is the attractive. Okay, it's pretty easy to remember that way. And so what creates this electromagnetic field around us?
And I'm going to say it's our thoughts, feelings.
That's right. And
perceptions, assumptions, beliefs.
Yes. We hear a lot about thoughts. You know, you hear a lot of memes, change your thinking, change your world. Change your world. What you think about comes about. What you think about you become. And that's not really true. It really isn't. Now, that's not to say thoughts aren't powerful, but what's more powerful than feeling? And why is that?
Feelings are visceral.
Oh, college word, visceral. What does that mean?
I just wanted to throw it out there.
No, it suits you well. You wore it well. Visceral. What does visceral mean?
Okay, so your feelings are are much deeper. If you think about everything you do is based upon how it makes you feel.
Or how you think it's going to make you
Or
feel.
how you think it's going to make you feel. And if you think about it now, all of life is a feeling. So
Wow.
it's feeling is very spiritual. I can even say it maybe it's our spiritual aspect. So to change your feelings is to change from within, is to change your biological body as well.
As well as Harold Saxon Burr's L field. If you change your feelings, you're going to change the field you're immersed in. Would you agree with that?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you said all of life is a feeling. Would that also apply to God?
Yes.
Oh my God. Literally. Oh my God.
Yeah, literally. Or is it the prayer is the feeling? Feeling is the prayer.
The feeling is the prayer.
Yeah.
You know, so many times people say, well, prayer just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Well, that's because a lot of people, what they call prayer is nothing more than noise on their knees. And I'm not being disrespectful, but it's got to be much more than just mouthing words. The feeling is the prayer. Yes. And that's really important. The ancient traditions teach us that. And so going back, you're an electromagnetic being, you're active and you're attractive, and your thoughts and feelings create this dynamic, active, and magnetic vibrations that go far beyond the physical body. That's the L field that Burr found from Yale. Now, you've already touched on some of these, but according to Burr, we're a bioelectric being. We create this L field. What are some of the things that create the field? Feelings, obviously. What else?
Your assumptions, your beliefs, things like that.
Yes, absolutely.
It could be unresolved emotional issues. It could be trauma.
Explain what that means, because maybe someone's tuning in for the first time. What's an unresolved emotional issue?
Let's say something happened to you as a child.
Which it probably did.
Yeah. Let's say, I don't know, your dad, gave you a beating.
The wife finger?
The wife. Gave you the wife finger. I highly that. Maybe you got spanked as a child. Okay. Hard. And therefore, if you didn't express or somehow misunderstood what was happening and you couldn't deal with it, so you just kind of stuff it and brush it away. And then later on in life, you start having behaviors and actions from that point of time that you created some kind of idea or belief around something that probably was not true. Most likely was not true. And it was not the case. And that becomes an unresolved emotional issue.
So let's imagine, using that example, that your dad acts out in anger instead of coming from love. Not that discipline is wrong. It absolutely is necessary. But instead
sometimes it does come from love.
Sometimes
in a wrong way.
Well, yes, and if you don't fully understand, and you can also, if life is a feeling, you can feel when it's coming from anger too.
Oh, for sure. And that's the thing. As a child, you don't know. You don't understand.
So you've got these unresolved emotional issues. You've got your beliefs. You hear a lot about beliefs, and that's not a new idea, but the Christ even told us, according to your beliefs
shall be done unto you.
It is done unto you. That's correct. And William James, the father of modern psychology, said your beliefs create the fact. And we could go on. So it's not a new idea, but it's a powerful understanding. Assumptions. So what's an example of an assumption?
It's kind of relates to what we just talked about. An assumption would be, let's say you have a friend and they're feeling off and you take it personal. You're assuming that it has something to do with you, and yet it doesn't.
Yeah, that never happens all the time.
Or you go out into the future and imagine the worst. You assume the worst possible case scenario.
That never happens.
Which usually never comes true.
Never comes true. Yeah, assumptions are powerful.
Yes.
We normally don't have enough data to really understand what something means. We take past experience. Now, here's an interesting one. We tend to always operate from the past. And you say, how so? Well, because we're not taking things here as they're happening right now. We're reflecting upon our past experiences and making assumptions based upon what's happening right now.
Yes.
That's why, you remember when we went through the Course in Miracles, one of the exercises all day long is you look at things and you go, I don't know what that means. Yeah. It's a powerful exercise because you don't. So expectations, boy, this is a big one in today's world. There's so much expectancy. There's so much entitlement. I expect certain things. Yeah. My dad and mom owe me. No, they don't.
Nobody owes you.
God owes you. No, God doesn't. Life, no. The government owes. No. On and on and on and on. The reality is, those are faulty expectations, and yet those create your L field. Again, can you imagine as we take each one of these and briefly discuss them, how this field starts to get more and more powerful?
It should become more clear for you of what's going on around you and why it's going on.
Right.
Yeah.
Morris Massey, behavioral scientist, did a lot of research on human behavior, and he said that most of us never make significant change in our life until we experience what he called a significant emotional event. What's a significant emotional event, if you had to define it?
It's a significant emotional event.
Getting married?
Yes, getting married. Getting divorced is one.
A death in the family?
Death in the family.
So many.
It could be good or bad.
That's right.
It's both.
That's right. It's both. It's something that really rattles your cage. Socialized mind. You've been immersed. Think about this. Bersabeh is creating an L field. I'm creating an L field. Our L fields are probably bumping up against each other and commingling because everything is energy. And so consequently, you've been immersed in also the collective L field for your entire lifetime.
So now it just gets messy.
It gets really messy, and that's what we call socialized mind. You're swimming in the soup of socialized mind every single day. Trauma is an intense word, and it can be small or large. It really depends, because everyone's trauma is their trauma.
Yes.
So we could go on, but hopefully you get the point. This is a very complex topic, and obviously not one that we can solve or cover in its entirety in a brief podcast. But there are two things that are really critical for all of us to understand. Number one, most of the things that drive your behavior and create your L field are buried deep
in your unconscious.
That's right. And that's why psychology tells us that 95% of what you do every single day is driven by your unconscious mind. Now, here's the rub. You can't deal with things you're unconscious of. And so one of the most important things you can do to change your L field, Harold Saxon Burr, and thereby change your life, which he says, until you change the field, you'll never change your life. You can work as hard as you want, and unless you change the field, you're not going to change your life. One of the most important things to change in that field is to make the unconscious conscious, because you can't deal with it when you're unconscious of it. When you become aware of it, now you can recognize it, and now you can say, okay, this is something that I need to work with and need to understand. And only then, when you make it conscious, can you heal it, integrate it, and set yourself free.
Yes.
I'm reminded, one of the courses that Bersabeh and I teach is called The Way of the Warrior, and it's based on the Toltec teachings. Yeah. And maybe this is the first time you've heard this, but the Toltec teachings are a part of alchemy. They're a entry step to the whole study and experience of alchemy, and very, very powerful. And one of the practices they have that we'll just share with you that's powerful, that maybe you can start adopting very practically right now, is called non-doing. Do you remember what non-doing is in Toltec?
Yes, non-doing is it's questioning everything you do. Why am I doing what I'm doing? For example, you get up in the morning and you have a cup of coffee. Well, why am I having a cup of coffee? Oh, because I like a cup of coffee. Okay, well, why do I like a cup of coffee?
Nobody liked coffee the first time they tasted
nobody
it.
ever tasted coffee. It was like, that's delicious.
Except now.
Yeah, you got yourself used to it.
Let me have a
and you saw it somewhere. You picked it up from somewhere. So like that. And you do that with everything that you do that's on autopilot, pretty much.
And pretty much everything's on autopilot.
Yeah, everything is
95% of your life is on autopilot. And so, yes, that's a great example, because if you like coffee, which we happen to, when you start to dig deep, do I really like it, or was I taught to like it? Mm-hmm. Did I have a belief that I would be an adult if I drank coffee, because that's what adults do?
Yeah,
that's
what they do.
It'll make me more grown up. On and on and on and on and on. And then once you understand where it comes from, now you can start to say, do I want to continue with that behavior? And obviously coffee is a simple one, but we can do this with everything. Or do I need to heal it and integrate it? Yeah. Your psychological environment, or your L field, is of vital importance to a fulfilling life, a fulfilling relationship, and a fulfilling business, because you always show up as you. Yeah. And when you change who you are, you change the L field. Well, you change the L field first. You change who you are. You change your actions. You change your results. Hopefully, this has been valuable for you. Yes. And we want to thank you for tuning in. Next week, we'll be back with you. Same time, same place. God bless. Lots of love. Bye-bye.